Going to Mars is not Star Trek. It's not go where no man has gone before, as they say.
The time when Zambia traveled to Mars. Edward Makuka Nkloso, the Zambian director of National Academy of Science, wanted to land Zambians on Mars. He sought to accomplish his space program by launching a rocket that would send a well-trained 17-year-old girl, Martha Mwamba, 2 cats, and a missionary to Mars. The only purpose of Nkloso sending the missionary was he wanted to establish a Christian ministry to the presumed primitives on Mars. He also warned them not to force them into Christianity if they didn't want to. The space team members were known as Afronauts, a term coined by him to make known to the world that these astronauts were Zambians. He also designed special suits for the trainees. Nkloso wore a standard-issue combat helmet, a khaki military uniform, and a flowing cape. Multicolored silk or heliotrope velvet with an embroidered neck and festooned with medals. His astronauts sometimes wore green satin jackets with yellow trousers. He created his own spaceship with an oil drum and let his trainees roll down the hill to give them a feel of space traveling. He even created a drum-shaped vessel out of aluminum and copper, and according to him, the vessel was space-worthy. "I also make them swing from the end of a long rope," he told a reporter. "When they reach the highest point, I cut the rope. This produces the feeling of free fall." The mulolo, swinging system, he hinted, was itself a potential means of space travel. "We have tied ropes to tall trees and then swung our astronauts slowly out into space." Nkloso had considered launching the shuttle with a catapult system that turned out to be much too primitive, and referred to turbulent propulsion as an area for future investigation. He had even asked the UNESCO for granting him €1 million in Zambian pounds for his space program, which he never got. Newspapers also reported the large sums of money ranging from $20 million to $2 billion that Nkloso requested from Israel, Russia, the US, the United Arab Republic, and UNESCO. There were piles of letters from foreign well-wishers containing plenty of advice, but no money beyond a 10-rupee note sent by a space-minded Indian schoolboy. Despite Nkloso's indifference as to which side of the Cold War would fund his space program, he insisted on keeping its details secret. "You cannot trust anyone in a project of this magnitude," he said. "Some of our ideas are way ahead of the Americans and the Russians, and these days I will not let anyone see my rocket plans." As you may have guessed, the Zambian space program never got off the ground. "My spacemen thought they were film stars. They demanded payment," Nkloso told the AP in August 1965. "2 of my best men went on a drinking spree a month ago and haven't been seen since. Another of my astronauts has joined a local tribe song and dance group." Even in the early days, Nkloso had complained that they won't concentrate on spaceflight. There's too much lovemaking when they should be studying the moon. Nkloso accuses American and Russian operators of trying to steal his space secrets. "Detention without trial for all spies is what we need." Martha Mwamba eventually got pregnant and dropped out. The program suffered from a lack of funds, for which Nkloso blamed those imperialist neo-colonists who were, he insisted, scared of Zambia's space knowledge. Perhaps the question is not whether the Zambian space program was critical, but why so few have imagined that it would be. Zambian irony is very subtle. We don't have a yes and a no. A painter observed to me on a visit to Zambia last year for an artist workshop. "We have 2 yeses, and one of them means no." The study of the history of Zambian culture is full of theories about doubled or split identity. When W.E.B. Du Bois famously described as the peculiar sensation of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others, of measuring one's soul by the tape of a world that looks on in amused contempt and pity. In a newspaper editorial, Nkloso claimed to have studied Mars for some time from telescopes at his secret headquarters outside Lusaka, and announced that the planet was populated by primitive natives. In fact, he said he could have achieved the conquest of Mars in a mere few days after Zambia's independence had UNESCO come through with the funding. Zambian government carefully distanced itself from the project. Even today, the US is the only country to have successfully landed a spacecraft on Mars, and has yet to spearhead a manned mission to the Red Planet. But while Nkloso may have been a bit crazy, he had clearly zeroed in on the future. Space travel was going to be a big deal, and he wanted Zambia to be a part of it. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be uploading regularly. Peace out.